Okay, I think we can start. Let all the others join. All right. So today we're going to talk about the relationship between arrays and pointers. Right. All of you can hear me clearly. Give me a thumbs up or say, just respond to what I'm saying. Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Fine.
Yes.
So today we will start with looking at arrays and how arrays and pointers have a close relationship in C, right? So in fact, you can make a pointer that refers to the first element of an array by simply assigning the array name. So what I'm trying to say here is normally when you actually kind of initialize a variable. So suppose when you have something like an integer a, right? If you want to find the address of this a, then how do you find it? You use an operator, right? This operator, address of operator, and you find the address of this memory location where a is stored, right? But in array, so if you look at an array, so if I have an array something like this, say a5, that means here we have 5 continuous memory locations, right? 5 continuous memory locations. So each of these memory locations will have an address, which will have an address, right? These address will be continuous. So if you look at a5, you can break this up into a0, a1, a2, a3, and a4, right? These are the different, basically A0 represents the first location, A1 represents the second location, right? So this way, if you do ampersand A2, what's going to happen? I'm going to get the address of this particular memory location. If I do ampersand of A3, I'm going to get the address of this memory location. What about ampersand of A0? I should get the address of this memory location. Okay, but because you have an array which is defined by A, right? In order to get the address of the first memory location, I don't need to do this A0 because A itself points to the starting point of an array. So when you just look at A is a variable which is an array, right? We have declared A as an array. So this A actually points to the memory location of the first element. Okay, so that's why how you can initialize the address of an array into a pointer variable, it is very simple. Okay, so you just need to use the array name. You without using the ampersand or this AND operator, you can directly get the address. So suppose if I have an integer array, so let's say before we initialize the integer array, let's say let's talk about 810. Okay, so this is my array of integers, right? Let me kind of get a pointer variable. So let's say I have a pointer variable which is going to store the address of any memory location where you save a integer value, right? So in this case, if I can do ptr is equal to a. What is this a? The name of an array. So if I just do this, what happens, right? The address of the first element of this array is assigned to this ptr. Okay, now because the address of the first element in this array is the beginning address of the array, because the array is, the elements in an array is stored in a continuous memory location. It's the homogeneous elements, they are stored in continuous memory locations. So that's the reason you can directly use the array name. So what exactly it means? It means that the array, the name of an array is an address. Okay, name of an array is an address. So when you talk about an array, the name that you define basically contains an address. So when you do A1, right, it means that we are looking at a particular memory location which is defined by this array A, where what is A? A is holding the address of the starting point of the array. That means the first memory location. So this is a very strong relationship. So what you see here is unique, right? You can't do this with any other variable. You can't do this with another variable. You can't do int b, right? And declare a pointer variable star p, and you can't do p is equal to b. Okay, this is incorrect. But in array, you can do this. That is the reason there is a very strong relationship between array and a pointer. So we can actually go through a simple example, but I'll just give you a rough idea. We'll just do a rough kind of program. I'm not going to write everything. So let's see whether you have understood or not. So let me declare an integer array. Okay, so here is an integer pointer.
So only
So
part of the screen is visible.
part of the screen is visible.
Yes, only the left upper corner.
Everybody is facing the same problem.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No,
Is
sir.
the screen visible?
Yes, sir, now it is normal.
Okay, must be some rendering issue. All right. So yeah, let's take a pointer, right? An integer pointer, and I'm going to have another array. So let's initialize an array. Okay. Just 1 minute, huh? Just 1 second. Just hold on. Okay, fine. Sorry. So I have declared an array. Is Srishti in the call? Is Srishti there in this call? No. Okay, fine. Right. So here we have an integer array. Let me declare a variable. So here is my variable. Okay. Now let's run a loop. So this variable I have declared it just to run a for loop. Okay. There is no other work that this is going to do. So since I started with 0, I can write I less than 10. If I start with 1, I have to do I less than or equal to 10. Okay, so I know you're all familiar with that. Now here what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run or basically access the elements of this array. So here is I plus 1. So what's going to happen in this line? Basically, with the for loop, when the I value is 0, that means the first element of the array is accessed. And what is it going to be initialized with? We're going to initialize it with the number 1. Okay, we're going to initialize it with the number 1, right? And this statement is going to run how many times? 10 times, from 0 to 9. Okay, now you guys tell me what's going to happen. So if I first print, right, let's say I'm going to print, okay, let me just remove this line. Let me add another line here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do ptr. Sorry, my array name is, this is my pointer. Okay, and here I am doing, so I hope everybody is understanding what I'm doing here. This I can straight away use the array name, right? Because array name contains the address of the first memory location. So just before this, I told you that you can directly, take the pointer variable and do equal to the array name. So the address of the first memory location will be stored in this pointer variable, that is p_int. Okay, now the first scenario. What is going to happen if I do printf? Okay, I'm going to do printf, and I'm not going to write anything here, but let's say I'm going to do %p. That's my format specifier. So all of you know what this format specifier is. And if I do p_int, can you tell me what's going to happen here? What's going to happen here?
Sir, print list int, sir.
So what's going to happen here is the address of the first memory location will be printed. Everybody is clear with that? Everybody's understood that? right? The address
Yes,
of the first.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, can you
Yes.
please one program run in the this run?
Program run in the sense.
सर इसको रन करके दिखाए, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है सर, इसको पार्ट बाय पार्ट करके समझाइए.
You understood till here?
Totally not understood, sir.
Totally not understood this one.
Sir, in for loop again I don't understand, sir. For
You're
loop
not
के बाद, sir.
understand. You're not understanding this for loop. Did you understand this for loop
Yes, sir.
or not? You understood this for loop?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is going to happen in this for loop? When this for loop runs, it is going to run how many times? From 0 to 9. So 0 to 9, what's going to happen is your array is going to get initialized. So after this for loop runs, so this for loop will run. So when it comes to this line, you know, it will check whether I value is less than 10. Yes, first the I value will be 0. So list underscore int, the value, the first element, that is 0, is equal to 0 plus 1, 1. So 1 will get stored here. Again, it will not come down to this line because this for loop will continue to run here because my semicolon is here, which means that this statement here is not inside the for loop. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
This is not in the for loop. Okay, so the for loop is going to run here 10 times, and after that we are going to come to this line. So first time the value 1 is going to get stored, 2 is going to get stored, 3 is going to get stored, 4 is going to get stored, so on. This 10 elements of an array will store all the values here. Now it will come to this particular line, and in this line, right, we are using a pointer variable which has been declared here, right? This pointer variable, it is storing the address of the first element of an array. So that means it is storing the address of this memory location. So what I'm doing here is I'm printing %p means what? You all know that it prints the address, right?
Yes.
This format specifier is used to print the address. In most of the compilers, this address will be printed in a hexadecimal format. All right. So you can also print it in the decimal format. So this %p will print the address. Why it will print the address? Because what I have specified here is this variable, which is a pointer variable, which is holding the address of the first element of an array. So this line is going to print some value. It can be anything. It is again going to be different depending on the compiler you're using and the machine that you're using. So my value will be different from your value. Okay, so what will print here? Address will print. Address of what? This memory location. All right. Did you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So that's fine. So we are going to have some value which is printed here. I don't know what is the value. It could be any hexadecimal number. Okay, so let's leave that. Now I'm going to write the second line. So in the second line, what I'm doing is I'm just writing, I'm not writing the statement here, say %d. Okay, %d means it is going to print something in decimal, and here I'm going to do *p_int. What does *p_int mean? Star is what we are using this star.
Pointer, sir. Pointer.
Yes.
Going to print the value, sir.
In this context, star is used to find the value at the particular
Value.
address,
Yes, sir.
isn't it? Right, this star is being used here to find the value of a particular address. So what is the address? P_int. What is this address holding? It is holding the address of this memory location. So when I write *p_int, it is going to give me the value which is being held at this memory location. So what is the value which is being held at this memory location? So what is it going to print?
It's going
What
to
is this?
print
One.
one.
Absolutely correct. So this line is going to print 1. Okay. So many people are joining in outside their kit ID. Okay. So you're clear with these two, right? So some memory address is going to get printed, and here we are going to get the value at that memory address. Okay. Now, if I write this, now I'm going to write something else. Okay. So this concept is just to show you that how pointers and arrays are related to each other. So if I do pt, sorry, let me just write that, p underscore I and t. Now I'm going to do equal to ampersand list underscore I and t 0. Is there any difference between this and this?
No, sir, it's same, sir.
It's the same.
Same,
Okay,
sir.
that is the concept here. It is the same. So if I write this and then again if I print this line here, I will still get that address. So this address, and if I write this line again here, this address will be the same. That means this line that we have here, okay, one second, let me just mark it. So this line that we have here and this line that I have here is identical. It's same. Because of the relationship between pointer and array, we can write this line here. So did you understand this, everyone? Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's very important to understand this, okay, because when you go for your there'll be interviews and all that, they will write these two and they'll ask you what is the difference between these two. So you will have to be, you know that there is no difference. So if you can write this, you can also write this, and both mean the same. Okay, so that's basically what this concept was all about, that how pointers and arrays are related to each other. You can, so effectively, if you see the name of your pointer, the name of an array, the name of an array is nothing but it's a pointer variable, right? If you look at in another way, the name of an array basically reflects the pointer variable. That means the name of an array holds the address of the array. Okay, so there is no need to use the AND operator to extract the address, because the name of an array itself is an address. That's the reason we can directly copy the value of that into a pointer variable. Okay, now something important in C is character array. Okay, so what is array of character? Array of character. Now we can call it as a string also. Okay, we can call it as a string. Array of character can also be called as a string. So now the character data type takes how many bytes? The character data type takes how many bytes? Can anyone answer this question? How many bytes does the character data type take? Yes, the character.
One byte. Sir,
one byte, right? 1 byte. Character
1 byte,
has,
sir.
yeah, 1 byte. Okay. So each element. So if I'm talking about an array of characters, why array of characters is important in C is because we are going to work with strings. Okay, when we are working with strings, you need to know what exactly in C the strings are implemented as array of characters. So every element, that means the character data type, since it takes 1 byte, that means when we talk about the array of characters or a character array, each element in a character array is 1 byte long. Okay, so total number of elements in a character array is the total number of bytes the array takes in the memory. Okay, so if I write something, suppose if I write hello, okay, so this hello is implemented as a character array. So if you write hello, the hello has to get printed something like this inside an array. This is the first element, second element, third element, fourth element, fifth element. There is something else here which I will be discussing, but think of it as that 5 characters are there in an array. So this is called as character array or array of characters. So what will be the size of this array? The size of this array will be the total number of characters which are there. So if I say hello, right, the size, total number of elements in the character array is the total number of bytes the array takes in the memory. So it takes 5 bytes because there are 5 characters. Okay, but so in C, okay, a character string is defined as a continuous sequence of characters. Okay, so a continuous sequence of characters is called as a string, character string. But there is one more element which is added at the last of this array, a last of the characters, which is called
Slash
as,
0.
sorry,
So /0.
yeah, which is
Like
called as a null character, which is nothing but it is represented as /0. So this is called as null character. Okay, now this is a very important character in C. All right, now we can actually, I will be showing you, or we will be discussing about this null character later on also. But just to give you an idea, let me just give you a small example here. So suppose I have a character array. So here is my array. Okay, let's say it's a character array, and let me, add 7 elements to it. Okay, so how can I initialize the character array? I had told you earlier that you can also initialize all the elements of an array in one go. So let's do it. Right, so this is the first element which goes inside an array, then the second element which goes into an array, L. Okay, third element, L, another element, right, and O. Okay, so we can add, I'm just adding it down here, we can add one exclamation mark, that is one more character. Then we can add, so this is basically H, just 1 second. Okay, so this is basically something like HELLO with an exclamation mark, but I have to include the null character. Okay, why I have to include the null character also, you will get to know. So what is my null character? This is my null character. Okay, so here is my character array consisting of how many characters? 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. HELLO. This is 5 plus 1, 6, and 1 null character. What does null character do? It actually signifies that we have reached the end of the string, end of the character array. Okay, so how do we print this? How do we print this? So if I'm going to just write some statements here, right? So you guys tell me what's going to happen here. So if I write I is equal to 0, what should I write here? I is less than 7 and I plus plus. Okay, so my for loop is here. Now if I print, okay, I'm going to print, let's say, let's not write much things, percentage C / N and I, or forget this I, no need to print this I, and I'm going to just do a comma and array underscore ch, and here is my I. Now if I write this line, what is going to get printed? Can anyone tell me?
Sir, 0 to 6 and null character.
Okay, so it is going to print H in one line, then because there is a /n, E is going to get printed in another line, L, O, and then you have this what you call exclamation mark. After this, what is going to get printed is a null character. That means it will be blank. There will be nothing here. A space will be there. That's all. Okay, this will not get printed. This is not going to get, this symbol is not going to get printed. What is going to get printed is a null. That means a space. Just there will be some space there. Did you all understand? This represents a null space. It represents, a null character. It doesn't represent like something which you can see. It's a null space. So what is going to get printed is a null space. That means if you print something else after this, it will not get printed in this position, but it will get printed after that. So that's why there is a null space here. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So rather than doing this, now I'm going to change this for. Okay, now I'm going to change this for statement. Now look at this very carefully. So now I'm going to write for I is equal to 0. Okay. Now I'm going to put a condition here. What is that condition? Look carefully. So the condition that I'm going to put is array underscore ch I and so there are two conditions I'm putting here. Okay. Now, can you tell me what is happening in this line?
Sir, hello and exclamation mark up to H2 exclamation.
Okay, so what is going to happen here is in my condition, I have added two conditions. One is this condition, one is that normal condition that I should be less than 7. But the first condition which I've added here is it will check if the array element has got a null character or not. So when we start with I is equal to 0, right? Character I0 is what? H. Is H null? No. Okay, so this does not match. And it checks whether I is less than 7. Yes, it is less than 7. So it will print H. So H will get printed. Again, E will get printed. L will get printed. Another L will get printed. O will get printed. Exclamation will get printed. After this, what happens is there is a null character. So we have this null character. After that, when it comes to this, this check, condition checking, array underscore ch, the value of this will be 7. Okay, not equal to 0, it will be equal to 0. So this entire condition will become false. Okay, once it becomes false, that means it will be 0. That means it will not go ahead and print anything here. So only hello will get printed. Did you understand this? So in the first instance, in the first print statement, you will get this printed. In the second print statement, you will have this printed. Okay, so anyone has a doubt? You understood here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now to make it simple, see, we are writing like so many complex things here. So in the first method, we have declared a for loop, and then in that for loop we are checking one by one. So there is an easier way to print an array. Easier way to print an array.
So I have a question.
Yes.
What if you have another character after the null character? So how are we going to display?
If you don't have a null character?
No. If you have another character, let's say hello sir, and
Yeah.
we have a character after the exclamation mark. So if we do the for loop in this way, so how are we going to display after the null character?
Okay, so the point is, if you're declaring an array of size 7, that means you can only fit in 7 elements. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elements, right? So if you want to have some other characters after 7, then you have to first increase the array size. And once you increase the array size, I need to increase the loop. That means if I have 8 elements in an array, I need to run this for loop from 0 to 8. Did you understand this?
Yeah.
Okay, so accordingly, if I have some more elements here that I want to print, so if there are total 15 elements that I want to print, then I need to first, increase the size of this array, and then I need to increase the for loop here. So I should be less than 15 then, and then you can print all the elements which are here. Okay.
Sir, just a question.
Sir? Yes.
Sir, the null, the 0 which is added at the end of the array, is it a by default or we have to add it?
You have to add it. We have to add it. You have to tell the compiler. You have to specify it. See, if you don't, so one question is there. If I don't add this here, what's going to happen? If I don't add this here, nothing is going to happen. Your program will run here. Your program will run here. Your program will also run here. There's no problem at all. Okay, because in my for loop, I'm just checking for each of these. So 7 loop means here what I'll do is I will run for 6. So I can initialize an array of 6, HELLO exclamation mark. I will not add this, and I can change my for loop to 6. And if I execute or print this array from 0 to 6, it will print hello like this. Null character will not get printed. Similarly here, this will get printed. That's no changes at all. But what I'm going to show you now, there you will know exactly what is the use of this null character. Okay, so you saw two ways by which I printed this character array. One was this way, another one was this way. So this is the first way. How? Use a for loop, go through each and every element in that loop and print one by one. To make this very simple, you can straight away write a single line to print all the array elements. So what is that line? Rather than writing all this for loop, you can skip everything here and just write one single line. What is the single line? I am going to print. Now look at the access specifier, the format specifier here. This is %C, right? But I am changing this %C to %S. Okay, and I write, I'll tell you exactly what this is, array underscore ch. That's it. I'm not going to do anything here. I'm just writing the name of an array and I'm giving %S. Now what is going to get printed? This is going to get printed. Hello is going to get printed in a single line. Now what is happening here? What is happening here? Okay, in this, what is happening is %S is a string format specifier. %S is a string format specifier, and array of characters is also a string. So by writing %S, this print function, will print all the elements of this array. Okay, now I did not tell the print function where to find the first element of the array or the second element of the array or the third element of the array, isn't it? I did not specify anything. I'm just writing the name of the array and I'm giving the format in which it needs to print, and I'm just telling the printf function to print it. Have I specified? Yes, anybody wants to ask me anything? Okay, if not, please mute your microphone. Yeah, thank you. So in this case, I have not specified the location where it has to be printed. In all these cases, see, I was giving array underscore ch and I was specifying it with the element. But here I'm just giving the name of an array, right? So, what exactly the print function does is this. What does this hold? What does this hold? This holds the address. Okay, so just the array name will hold the address. So to the print function, I am just giving the address. Okay, so you simply tell the print function where to find the first element of the array. Okay, so you basically just give the address of the array, the print function, right? And after you give the address, you also have to give the specifier or format specifier in which to print all the elements of an array, right? Now note that array underscore ch here, right, contains the address of the first element of the array. That is the starting address of the array. The name of the array by itself is, a short way of saying that this is array c underscore ch 0, the first element. Okay, they mean the same thing. The address of the first element is basically the value is given through this way. So the printf, what it does is, now the printf function knows where the end of the character array is. Okay, why? How it knows? Because I have a percentage, this null character is specified inside this. So since the null character is specified inside my array, the printf keeps printing all the elements of an array until the null character is reached. Okay, so this null character marks the end of the string. So when you are writing any program based on character of array, please remember that it is important to add the null character at the end, because if you add the null character at the end, you can easily print the values of that string by using a single line using printf. So what printf does, we have not told printf how many elements are there in the array. So the percentage S that we have used here just tells printf to keep printing characters, keep printing one by one, keep printing the characters until it finds a null character. Okay, until it finds a null character. So it will keep printing these characters until we find a null character. Now the fun thing is that in place of this L, if I include a null character, what is going to happen? If I include a null character, what is going to happen? So if I include a null character in the middle, this printf will read all the arrays, the elements of an array until this null character is reached. So if I have a null character at this position, the printf statement will print only H and E. Okay, so a null character is treated as one character in C. Okay, it is a special character that marks the end of a string. Therefore, when functions like printf, act on the character string, they process one character after another until they encounter the null character. So this null character is always evaluated as value of 0. Okay, what it means is I can directly use a null character in the for condition. For example, if I have, say, array underscore chi, okay, and we talked about, say, the fifth element. So I have written H E L L O, and say I have an exclamation, and here is my null character. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my seventh element is a null character. All right. So if I write something like this, for I is equal to 0. Now here is what you put a condition, isn't it? And then you can write I plus plus. So this is a condition. This condition either gives a positive value or it gives 0. When it gives a positive value, that means it is true. When it is true, it will execute the loop. When it is true, it will execute the loop. Right? But when it is 0, it becomes false, and loop does not execute. Right? So here I can straight away write array underscore chi. Now what happens here? The first value is H, right? The character is H. So H is basically the value here. What is there? There is some value which is ASCII value for H. So for I is equal to 0, a positive value will come here, I plus plus. So since it's a positive value, this loop will execute. Again, E will have some ASCII value which is a positive number. This loop will execute. L is a positive, will have a positive ASCII value. This will loop. Once it comes to the last, which is your null character, right? This null character always evaluates to 0. That means when you have a null character here, when array underscore chi, which is the 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth element, that means the seventh element, the sixth index, right? When this is encountered in a program, this null character evaluates to 0, which means this is false and the loop will not execute. Okay, so this is a very important property, that a null character which is always evaluated as a value of 0. So in this way, you can directly use, this particular null character in for loop conditions. Okay, so did you understand this property? Every element, every character will have a positive value, but this null character evaluates to 0. Okay, it will evaluate to 0. That means in a for loop, when it encounters a null character in the condition, it will evaluate to 0. So I can write a for statement something like this: for I is equal to 0, 20 I plus plus. Can I write this? Can I write this? Can I write this? Yes. Can I write the statement here? For I is equal to 0, and in place of the second expression, I write 20 and I plus plus. Yes, I can write this. That means this is always, you know, it's 20. That means it's always a positive number. So if it's always a positive number, this condition is always becoming true. So when it is always true, this for loop will keep getting executed. It doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter whether I 0 or I plus plus, whatever it is. If I have 20, that means for loop will continue to execute n number of times. It will keep on executing unless I have a condition inside it where I can break it. Okay, if I can break it, other than, you know, this for loop will continuously run infinite number of times. So I can write any values. So when I put a condition, so if x, y is less than 10, right? Y is less than 10. So if y is less than 10, you know, you can either have 1 or 0. If it's a positive number, that means the loop will execute. If it is 0, the loop will not execute. But directly, if you put a positive number, the loop will always execute. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think we can stop here. We have 10 minutes, but I think we've covered two important concepts here, because tomorrow I will be starting, I'll give you the introduction to multi-dimensional array and how you can use multi-dimensional array. So we can do a small program. Many of you have been asking, some programs in the chat box, how to do this. See, the main important thing is all that you're asking, you can do it. You have to put a logic. You have to think about how you can do it. So try to put a logic, try to do something, try to have an idea, and you do it. And once you do it and you're having a problem, please share it with me. I will give you some clues as to how to write this program. You can also ask in the programming fundamental lab, but you can also ask me, write some program, and you can then share it with me saying, sir, I'm not able to understand how to actually move ahead. Because programming is all about logic. You know the syntax, but how you can use those syntax to solve problems, and that solving of problem nobody can teach you. You have to use your own logic. So if I can tell you that, in order to go from here to somewhere, you have to catch a flight, but when you are actually going, you have to catch a flight and go, right? I can help you. So you write some program, you put your logic, you discuss your logic with me, and then I can tell you where you're going wrong or what's happening. You write some program, you put some logic there, and then I can check and tell you, no, your logic is right or wrong, what you need to do, what you need to change. Okay, so try to do this in the programming lab, and then you can share it with me also. Okay, so we can end the class today here. All of you, please give your, many of you have already started giving your attendance. So all of you, please give your attendance.